Donald Trump decided to hit Hillary Clinton where she's most vulnerable on foreign policy. And what he said, I think, is really going to resonate with a lot of voters in both parties. Take a look.
On foreign policy, Hillary is trigger happy. She is. She's trigger happy. She's got a bad temperament. You look what she did. And look at this. I just wrote this down. Iraq. Libya. She voted. Iraq. Let's go into Iraq. I voted against it, except I was a civilian, so nobody cared. From the beginning, I said it's going to destabilize the Middle East, and Iran will take over Iraq. You know, for years they've been trying to get Iraq, and Iraq has been trying to get Iran. We decimated that country's military, and now the country's a mess. And what we did is we got ISIS. They got oil. Her decisions in Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Libya have cost trillions of dollars, thousands of lives, and have totally unleashed ISIS. Now, thousands of lives, yes, for us, but probably millions of lives, in all fairness, folks, okay? Probably millions. You know, there is another side to this story. Millions of lives, millions. You know, they bomb a city. I watch it. They bomb a city, and you go and you see this city that's obliterated, right? Obliterated. We started this. Obama couldn't get us out properly, but we started this. Now it's a total mess. If nothing would have happened, we would have been far better off than we are now. We spent $4 trillion, but they bomb a city. I'm pretty good at this stuff, and I look, and there's practically nothing. These buildings, 4 or 5 story buildings, you're just laying, and they'll say, nobody was killed. Nobody was killed. I'll bet you thousands and thousands of people were killed every time you see that television set. They say, nobody was killed. You know, there is another side to it, okay? And let me tell you something. We've lost thousands of lives, trillions of dollars. Millions of people have been killed. Millions of people have been killed, all told. And what do we have for it? Nothing. If we would have done nothing, I always say, if our presidents had gone to the beach every day of the year 15 years ago, we would have been in much better shape. You'd have Saddam Hussein, who's a bad guy. Somebody, you know, one of these dishonest press, they're the most dishonest human beings in the world. I said, Saddam Hussein killed terrorists, which he did. And the next day they did a story. Donald Trump likes Saddam Hussein. So I always say it differently now. I say Saddam Hussein, who was a bad guy, a horrible guy, a miserable, horrible human being, right? This way I'm protected from these horrible, yuck, they're disgusting. Saddam Hussein was a bad guy, but Saddam Hussein did something very well. He killed terrorists. Now Iraq is Harvard for terrorism. If you want to be a terrorist, you go to Iraq. It's Harvard. He used to kill them instantaneously. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, they didn't go through 15 years of a court case. It didn't take them 15 years, and they didn't read the rights. They killed terrorists, all right? You didn't have terrorists. And by the way, in all fairness, the Iraqis did not knock down the World Trade Center, just in case you had any question.
Everything he said right there is true. So you have to give him credit where credit is due. So the fact that Hillary Clinton has had so many foreign policy blunders in Iraq, in Libya, in Syria, in Honduras. Look, if he continues on this path, he very well may be the next president of the United States. And I'm not kidding about that. This is the strategy that you want to use going up against Hillary Clinton. And as he moves to the left, Hillary Clinton is moving further to the right and is expecting to still have the support of the Democratic base. Well, when you are going up against someone who's saying these types of things, that honestly is one of the most effective strategies that he can use against Hillary Clinton. Because you can't necessarily hit her on transparency if you're Donald Trump, because he's not very transparent. He doesn't want to release his tax returns, and he's actually refusing to do so now. So you can't really hit her on that. But here's one thing that you can hit her on: foreign policy. Now look, here's the thing about Donald Trump. When it comes to his foreign policy, he's an open question. One, I question that he really knows very much about foreign policy. And furthermore, he talks about killing civilians. He says you have to kill the family members of ISIS.
You have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families.
He also talks about how we need to bring back torture and do more than what we did before. Look, these are not good policies. They're insane. It violates the Geneva Convention, and he even said the Geneva Convention was a problem, which I don't ever want to hear that come out of the words of any president. For me, I'm someone who believes that the U.S. should actually be a signatory to the International Criminal Court, which we're not, because people like George Bush didn't want to join because he didn't want to be bound by it. He didn't want to be tried for war crimes because he should be. Him and Dick Cheney should be in The Hague right now in jail. And Obama was someone who I was hoping would sign on to the International Criminal Court. He didn't either. So I'm someone who, I want the U.S. to be restricted. I want us to not be committing atrocities abroad. And when we talk about war, we often talk about it in an American sense. We talk about the toll it has on American troops. We talk about how they come back physically wounded. Many of them die, unfortunately. And many don't even mention the fact that they come back emotionally and psychologically wounded and suffer from PTSD. But one dimension that we don't mention is the toll that it has abroad on villages and cities and families that we destroy by our interventionist policies that both Democrats and Republicans perpetuate. When Obama got into office, what did he do? One of the first things was he ramped up the drone war in Pakistan, Yemen, and Somalia, and the rate of deaths for civilians was astronomical. Obama basically gave autonomy to the CIA to conduct drone strikes and do what they want, and it was horrible. Here's my perspective. So the 2008 election, to me, was really a referendum on the Iraq War. I mean, I liked Barack Obama, more so at the time than now. But really, Democratic voters and many voters, Republicans as well, felt disenfranchised by the interventionist, war hawkish policies of Bush, and we opted for Obama over McCain because Barack Obama was against the Iraq War, and McCain was for it. So now you see Hillary Clinton supporters supporting her no matter what. So basically, both of the constituencies of the parties have flipped. Now you see the Democratic voters who support Hillary Clinton now are more interventionist, and Republican voters are more non-interventionist. What is happening? Now, again, I don't know if we can fully give Trump credit for being non-interventionist, considering the fact that he wants to kill civilians and bring back torture and violate the Geneva Conventions. But I do know that what he said there was true, and you have to give him credit where credit is due. He may be wrong in so many other areas. He wants to default on the national debt that we have. He wants to ban Muslims from entering and exiting the country, but he's right on this. So as Trump moves to the left and speaks more, he's becoming more and more popular. He's going to be able to gain independent voters. And as Hillary Clinton moves to the right, and the more she talks and we hear about her, she becomes less and less popular. This is the same effect that Bernie Sanders has. And now we're seeing it with Trump. This election, if it really does come down to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, if we see more of this Donald Trump, then don't be so sure that Hillary Clinton's going to win, because Donald Trump very well could win this if he continues with this strategy, that is.